Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope everyone is doing well and welcome to the OBU induction course at Phoenix Financial Training. I think I'll give it a few minutes until everyone comes in, but before then, let me just introduce myself. So my name is Sara Kelani. I'm a tutor, an ACCA tutor, and an OBU mentor at Phoenix Financial Training. And I have been working with Phoenix for over 8 years, and before that I was an auditor. So I may already, I'm noticing some familiar names that I think I have taught before, but for the people who haven't met me before, just to tell you a little bit about myself. So the purpose of this online induction session is basically to answer any of your questions, any of your queries regarding the OBU research report and the research project. My plan is to walk through a very, very brief introduction that just gives you a little bit of information about the OBU BSc in applied accounting, and then of course to answer any of your doubts and queries. If you would like, guys, as well, feel free to unmute yourself and ask right away. Feel free to write on the chat box if you have any questions. I will be looking at that as well, just to make sure that I catch all of your questions. Okay, 1 second. Let me just share my screen as well. Okay. Okay. The OBU course for applied accounting, there are basically, and you may be aware of this, so I'm sorry if you're aware of this and I'm telling you things that you already know of, just to make sure that the information is there for everyone. There are basically 2 periods that you can submit your research report, which is in November and in May. So November 2024, which is in a few months, is the next submission period. And that's the one that I'll be basically referencing to in this session. However, most of the information that applies to the actual research report can be applied to future periods as well. So the information that is there on the screen right now is basically my information, which is I'm a bachelor's in finance as well as a master's in accounting, as well, of course, as a fellow ACCA member, and I am OBU mentor as well, an approved mentor. And there's my email that is provided on the screen, as well as my WhatsApp number. If you remember any question later on, or you wanted to ask something later on about the course, feel free to contact me at any time. Okay, so first of all, what are the benefits of getting this OBU? So this is a bachelor's degree, an undergraduate degree. And one of the best things is that you can actually do it along your path of doing your ACCA. So you don't actually have to finish the ACCA to do it. It's a real plus, especially for students who have started the ACCA right after school and do not have a bachelor's degree. This is basically the best opportunity to get both ACCA qualified as well as have a bachelor's degree at the same time. So it's cost effective and much simpler mode of gaining a degree, because the idea is that this collaboration between ACCA and Oxford Brookes said that you're getting all of your technical knowledge from the ACCA papers, especially the initial knowledge and skills papers, as well as this wrap, which I'm going to talk about later as well. This wrap gives you the experience regarding the research and how to analyze and so on and so forth. That basically in combination is what a bachelor's degree is. So it's really cost effective and efficient way to get a degree. It's also continuing personal and professional development by means of transferable skills. So once you do this report, basically, and you do this project, this tells employers that you do have these skills that is required in multiple careers. Personal satisfaction and achievement as BSc will strengthen your position in the competitive job market, especially if you were, as I said, a school graduate. Getting this degree is going to be an added bonus, and it will also show to employers that in addition to be qualified, you also have an undergraduate, and of course enhances your future career prospects. So what do you need to do? What do you need to have to actually start your BSc? So first of all, you need to have passed all of your knowledge and your fundamental level papers. So we're talking about the first 9 papers of the ACCA. You don't have to actually write all of them. As I'm aware, a lot of people are exempt from a lot of papers. So when I say complete all of the 9 papers, that means that complete and or exempt from the 9 papers. However, there are 3 papers that you needed to have written before you can actually apply for the BSc, and that is Financial Reporting FR, Audit and Assurance, and FM. So these are the papers that technically you are not allowed to be exempt from. Now, a lot of universities, like if you are exempt from it, then you can either choose to write the paper even if you're exempt, so basically let go of the exemption, or you wouldn't be able to do the BSc. However, if you have written at least these 3 papers and completed all of the 9, then you are qualified to do the BSc. The second requirement, which I believe all of you would be okay with, is that it needs to be completed within 10 years of your first ACCA examination. So, for example, let's say we are in 2024 now. So if your first paper was in, I don't know, in June 2014, right? Then this is the last chance for you to get it. However, I believe that all of you are much younger than that, and you have started your ACCA much sooner than that. You must also, and this is a very, very important thing, so please put it into your diaries, guys. You have to have completed the ethics and professional module by the 20th of September. So you've got a month and a half around that to complete the EPCM model. So make sure that you complete that before the deadline. What I would suggest that you actually do it ASAP, as soon as possible. If you've decided to do the OBU with us, then the course starts on the 14th of August. And then after that, it's just going to be focusing on your project, focuses on your research and so on. So it's much better, maybe in the next 2 weeks, if you decide to do it, to get that done, you know, before that, it would be much advantageous. Okay, so what is this RAP that I keep talking about, the research analysis project? So this project is basically the main deliverable. So there is there.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm
Yes.
really sorry. I could not hear you before. Could you repeat the before statement you said
The
regarding
last slide.
14th of August? You said something. I was
Yes.
not able to hear.
No problem. So basically our classes start on the 14th of August. So, and I will go through the structure right now. So after the 14th of August, that's where your focus is going to be on your research. And that's why I'm saying it is actually advisable that you complete your ethics and professional model before that. So you've got around 2 weeks for that.
And just one question. What time duration would this uh, ethics and professional module would take to complete?
So basically it really varies from person to person. So you can do it in a few hours, maybe you can do it in like batches, but maybe it depends your level of knowledge. Because for example, when I have done it, I've done it a long time ago, of course. When I have done it along with my ethics paper. A long time ago, there was no SPL. There was like an ethics paper and business paper. So I've already had a lot of the knowledge from that paper, and therefore I didn't really need to review a lot, and I did it in like one go in like a few hours. Otherwise, you will need to go through the content and make sure that you know it really well before you actually do it. So honestly, it depends from a person to person, but it's not something that takes a significant amount of time. But I would still recommend that you do it right away, because it's not a difficult thing, by the way. It's just you want to make sure that you've ticked at least one of those boxes before you start, so you can actually focus on your research.
All right, thank you. And it doesn't take much, doesn't have a no required timeline to complete, right? You can complete it at any timeline that you want.
Anytime. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so going back to the wrap. So the wrap is your project. So your project is basically made out of two main deliverables. Now, the main deliverables is your research report. Your research report is going to be your main research, which is going to be between 7,000 and 7,500 words. And you need to stay within those frames. The second deliverable is the SLS, which is the skills and learning statement, which is a 2,000-word statement that basically describes what have you learned through this research process. It's divided into two sections, and that is something that we will discuss, once we start the course and we go through in much detail. I can guide you through how to write the SLS or what kind of information to write in the SLS. But basically it shows what have you learned, what have you gained personally from this, what have you gained professionally from this process of doing the research. So it's just like a support kind of document. Now, the main research report, that is going to be your research about the company of your choice, and it follows specific topics that the OBU has provided. And I'll give you the list of topics, and it's also available online. Now, alongside this, you have also need to submit some supporting files, such as an Excel sheet that includes all of your, the ratio analysis that you have done, any appendices, any graphs, any ratios, so on and so forth. You need to have a reference list, some slides, PowerPoint slides that are going to be presented to me. And if you are resubmitting, then a resubmitting statement. So these are all supporting files, and they are not included in any of the word counts that are in the main file. So we've got two main files, and then we've got supporting files that you need to submit your papers with. Please let me know if you have any questions as well, guys. Okay, so important dates for you to know. These are the dates as per OBU. We call this period 49, which is the period submission of November 2024. So as I said, you need to have completed the ethics module by 20th September. Do it as soon as possible if you can. Now, the submission period is from the 1st to the 6th of November, so it's around a week at the beginning of November. So you've got September, October, November, exactly 3 months for the submission. Now, the results of the submissions will come out in March, and the fees that will be paid directly through OBU is £520, and that has to be, it's done automatically or online on OBU. I have a question here. Is there a registration date? No, you can pay at any time that you want, as long as you submit within these periods. Okay. It's not clicking. Okay, there. Now, the schedule for this session, as I said, the first session starts on the 14th of August. Now, there are a total of 5 sessions that we do provide. Now, there are 2 sessions that are going to be individual between myself, your mentor, and you, and 3 sessions that are going to be group sessions. So the first session is going to be a group session. And in that session, we're basically going to discuss in more detail the main focus on it is going to be on the research report, which is going to be basically that first deliverable. We're not going to, I'll mention the SLS, but the main focus is going to be on starting the research report. It's going to be focused on, choosing your topic, choosing your company, what are the questions, what is expected of you to start that. So we split the paper or the research report into certain parts, and then you're going to have some basically deliverables. I will be expecting you to leave on that session with some kind of idea of where you're going to want to go. And then you're gonna have like around a couple of weeks to basically formulate an idea. And the next meeting is going to be an individual meeting with myself and each one of you individually, and it's going to be online. And that's where we're going to discuss your idea, your company, what have you done so far, the research that you've done, because the idea is sometimes you need to do a little bit of research before you actually start the research. So you need to do a little bit of research about your choices, what company you're going to choose, which question, which topic do you feel more comfortable with? And then you may, Google, check online, and then you may find that that company that you think you have chosen is not the best thing, and you may change it and so on. So we give you these 10 days or something like that to make sure that you have a good starting point. And we discuss that in this individual session that we do online. Usually that session is around 30 minutes. It's going to be done in the evening times because a lot of people do work. So it's going to be 30 minutes online on Zoom, just like that. And we're going to be discussing your idea, your progress so far, any guidance that you need. Can we get the slide after? Yes, of course, I will be sending the slide, no problem at all. So that's going to be the second session. Then the third session is going to be another group session. And here we're going to be talking about more about the actual analysis part of the project. So the first part is just the introduction, your choice of the company, why you have chosen this, so on, background information, analysis of the company, analysis of the industry, and so on. And then the second session, this is where we discuss the main analysis, where we're going to introduce the different models that you can use, like SWOT, like Pastel, like Porter's 5 forces, and all of these, which I'm sure you guys have learned through your studies. We're going to discuss what is the best one to choose. We're going to discuss ratio analysis, variance analysis, and so on. So that's going to be the essence of that third session. The fourth session, which is the last group session, is going to be talking about trying to smoothen everything. So we're going to be talking about referencing. Now, I will talk about references from the start because it is something that is really super important. We're going to be talking about the SLS, your statements. However, for your SLS, you need to be kind of working on it throughout the process. And of course, your PowerPoint presentation, which is basically generally it's recommended around 20 slides, so 15 to 20 slides that basically summarizes your whole project. And it's going to be presented to me in an individual face-to-face session. So this is going to be by appointment for each of you. I chose it over 3 days just to say, it depends on the number of students. I can't do everyone at the same day. So we'll do it by appointment, another just 15-20 minutes of a presentation to me that basically presents your whole research. And that would be the fifth and the last session that we have, that is an individual session. Any questions so far?
So the group sessions would
Yeah.
be online or face to face?
No. Everything is face to face with the exception of the second individual session.
Okay, all right.
Everything else is face to face.
Okay.
Okay. Those who are in foundation level of ACCA, by what time they need to finish papers and ethics model next year? Approximate time, I mean. Okay, so I'm not 100%. Next year, you mean for May, I would assume. So I don't know the exact date, but it's going to be kind of a similar pattern. So it's going to be around at least a month and a half before your the session, so before May. So for example, if you've written it in March, let's say, you need to have your scores up by then, and you need to have, I would assume, by March 15, I would think you would need to do the ethics model, right? So it's kind of, by the way, the dates are already there, but I don't have them at the top of my head. Yes, you do start, just answering Gori's question, you do start the written part of the project from session 1. So after session 1 is basically where I give you an introduction, and there's going to be like a homework or what you need to do. So the report is separated into certain parts. So for example, part 1 is the introduction, and telling us why have you chosen that company, for example. So that is going to be a deliverable for you to come with for the second session. So our second session, where we discuss the topic and company choice, you need to have written something before that, so we can see progress throughout the period. Hi Zainab, I'll be giving my AA paper in September, so when can I start for the OBU research? Zainab, can you have completed all the skills except AA and PM? Okay, so you need to do both AA and PM. You need to have finished all of your skills level. Then you can probably do, if you're doing AA in September and probably PM in December, then you can do it in May. May would be the good time for you to do it. Any other questions?
Hi, I'm Jannat.
Hi, Janat.
Hi. I actually wanted to ask, I actually wrote the question, but I wanted to ask again, because right now I'm doing level 1. Okay. So, so the deadline is like May 2026, right? For the last OBU, as far I have seen in the
Yes.
website. Yeah.
Yes, 2020. So a year and a
so
half.
so if I'm actually planning before May 2026, definitely I'll try my best. So next year for May 2026, before to submit, so what should be the latest time by next year that I should aim for to finish the papers and
I
ethics?
think you should aim just to be on the safe side for December.
December, that's the max, right?
Yeah,
That's the
December
max.
2025.
2025. Yeah, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. And can I ask a couple of questions more?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, so for the project and research, so for example, like if you're researching in a company, I suppose, like I know maybe you'll be like explaining the more context more further. So is it like, are we going to physically visit the companies or research online? Could you share if it's within the session today? If you could share more about it, yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll discuss that more when I go through the topics.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. If I'm doing 2 papers in the September sitting, is it possible to do the UBU this sitting? I think you can. I think you can. But I think it's gonna be very tight for you in case, like, if you have time. Now, if you're not working, I think it's definitely doable. And plus, if you feel that by the end you can't finish it, then you can just choose not to submit yet and submit it in May. Right, so that's completely fine. You have time for that, but you can definitely start working on it. Not a problem at all. Right. Okay.
And one more thing that
Yes.
many times we need support, not only on these 5 sessions, we need more support. So if I have more queries or questions, then what should I do? Should I wait for the next session, or can I?
No. Throughout the period, you can call me and WhatsApp me anytime. So you're gonna have my WhatsApp number, and you can practically ask me any time of day, even in the middle of the night. I'm just not gonna answer in the middle of the night, but I'll probably answer right after in the morning. But yeah, anytime, I'll be there. And throughout this process as well, there's gonna be I will be giving you like homeworks, some deadlines, so you can stay in track, and I will be reviewing your work and then providing you feedback on it. So and what's also important to understand is the role of a mentor is not really to tell you what to write, but just basically to guide you through and tell you this is not very clear, or I need more detail on this, or you know, this style is wrong or this style is right, stuff like that. So I will be reviewing your work and giving you constant feedback. So these sessions are basically 3 sessions to give you more of knowledge to help you in your research, and the other 2 sessions is to just, you know, physically and face-to-face to discuss it. But if there are any other questions or any other queries, it's anytime throughout the process.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at the end of the I want you to know that how will it be discussed in today's session, that how like OBU will actually mark on, and you know, the acceptance of the research paper and its submission, how is it, will it be discussed today in the session?
No,
Like,
we will not discuss this today.
Mm.
But generally I do
but a
discuss
general idea,
on
like
the
basic
first
idea,
session.
just to, yeah.
I discuss this usually in the first session.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so I think I just mentioned that as well. So basically to support and give you feedback, that's the role of the mentor. Okay, so these are the 15 topics. Now I hope that they're not too small on your screen. Now, these are the 15 topics. They are available on the OBU guide as well. So, for example, I'm just going to read a couple for you. So, analyze and evaluate the impact on the business and financial performance of an organization, of an aspect of an organization's performance management system. That's one. Number 3, analyze and evaluate the impact on the financial performance of an organization of a recent change imposed by the regulatory environment. Number 5, analyze and evaluate the business and financial performance of an organization which has performed exceptionally well over a 3-year period, with a critical analysis of the reasons for its success, and so on and so forth. Now, the question I think Jeanette asked regarding, do we need to visit the company? Do we need to do that? Now, it depends on the topic that you have chosen. Now, you are free to choose any topic of your choosing, right? The ones that I have highlighted here in green are basically I don't like, I'm not in a position to tell you which topics to pick, never at all. But these are the ones that a lot of students do pick. And the main reasons that they do pick them is because they do not need internal information. So a lot of that analysis, number 4, number 5, and number 8, is basically based on external public information. So all you need is general public information that you can just get online without needing any internal sources. A lot of the other questions require and are going to be better written research reports if you do get internal information. So, for example, especially if you look at the first one, for example, the one I read, analyze and evaluate the impact on the business and financial performance. Okay, financial performance you can get from out of an organization, of an aspect of an organization's performance management system. These are internal systems that the public doesn't really know about, and they don't know how it works. So you can feel free, if you have access to a company, if you're working in a company and you can get this information and you feel that you actually have a lot of knowledge about this information that will help you write a really good research report, feel free to do that. However, if you're not working and you don't have access to any company, then it is better to stay within, the topics that only require public information. I will also, it's already on the OBU website as well as the ACCA website, which is the OBU guide for session 49 as well as 50. So they do it in a year, and it tells you what each topic requires in terms of the sources of data. Okay, just answering a couple of questions. You are allowed, if you complete the 9 papers and pass, and you've done the ethics and professional skills model, you are eligible. That's it. You can just do it, right? So that is basically the eligibility that you need. If you have a family working, what is the best question to choose? The best question to choose is basically where you feel you can get the best information, because it depends where that family member is working. So for example, let's go back here. Okay, so for example, number 12, analyze and evaluate the effectiveness of an aspect of control environment within an organization. Now that definitely needs insider knowledge. However, if your family member is someone who works in internal audit, that's a great question to choose, right? Because they will know a lot about the control environment. They will not really know much about performance management system, but if someone is working in that area, then great. Let's pick another one. Analyze and evaluate the effectiveness of key factors that have an impact on employees in organizations. So if that family member works in HR, then that's a great question. So I can't really tell you which question is the best question, because it does depend on the kind of information that you have. I think choosing any of these questions is fine, and it depends on who you know, what is, what is your knowledge, what can you talk about, what can you research, if you have internal sources or if you don't. So it definitely depends on you, but that's what I can tell you. It depends on what that family member or that friend or you, if you're working in something specific, then you have to consider the role there. Any other questions?
Would it be ethical to get such inside information by a family member or relative?
If there is consent, and you'll see that it requires consent from the organization, that's fine. That's completely fine.
And this 15 options are only there. This is exhaustive list, right?
This is the
only
list. So you
okay.
have to choose one of those 15. Any other questions, guys? Any questions? Okay.
We will be provided any resources from your end as a mentor, like just previous any examples or resources, or we have to work out online ourselves, like we'll be given guidance only.
Yes. So basically, I'm not allowed to give you resources, right? So for example, I can't give you Excel sheets. I can't give you I can't tell you what to research, but I can tell you basically kind of how to do it. You need, like, for example, I would say, please try to avoid things such as Wikipedia and stuff like that. That is not very academic. I will guide you in terms of how to reference. I will guide you in terms of the depth of the analysis and so on, but you will need to do your own work.
Okay.
Yes, Muhammad, that is a very, very good thing. You cannot use AI in writing the paper or for research. So you can't use ChatGPT. I know that nowadays a lot of people use it and make it easier, just to use AI and ask a question and get the answer, but that's not the whole point of the OBU, right? The idea is to show that you are capable of doing this yourself. Now, you can Google something and get a source, I would say, for example, that's fine. That's not a problem. However, once you get the source, you have to read it yourself. You have to summarize it yourself. You have to paraphrase it yourself and reference it properly. Plagiarism is one of the key things that will, even if you've written the best paper in the world, will make you fail in a second. So you just have to be really careful about that. Any other questions?
Hello, Miss. Just now I
Hi.
joined. Thought the class would be from 6 to 7, but why did you highlight these three topics? Topic number 4, 5, and 8.
Okay, so the main reason of why we highlighted these topics is because they can be done based on external public information. If you don't have if you don't work in a company, or you don't have anyone, or you don't have access to internal sources of information, then these three would be the easiest to do in terms, because you don't really need internal sources, but the rest you will need some internal sources to be able to complete a good paper. That's why
Okay.
they're highlighted. And the session is going to be recorded as well, so Nasra, you can go through it later as well.
Oh, okay, that's good. Thank you.
No problem. Anyone has any other questions? Okay. Okay, so the cost, I actually have to check that. I should have that. Right. Let me, I have written it somewhere. Okay. It's on the website, but let me check it for you. I'll tell you. There are multiple websites that are advised or basically recommended by OBU. You just have to be very careful, because sometimes if you put your paper in certain websites and then submit that paper, then it would show as if it's plagiarized, because it's exactly the same. So we'll provide you with certain specific links that there are so many online, right? There's so many online, but we prefer only the ones that are recommended by OBU. So I think there's a couple that are recommended by OBU. The 520 pounds are for the registration for the OBU, which is separate than the mentoring cost. So completing online papers is compulsory. Yes. And can we do the OBU project while we are doing? Yes, 100%. So if you finished your 9 papers and you've started with maybe SBL, SBR, yeah, you can definitely do your OBU at the same time.
So the registration has to be since I said you mentioned about the maximum December, the registration has to be done by ahead by December, or ahead for if I'm approaching maximum for December next year. Just
Registration for what? For the OBU?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you you can do it even after December, is fine, because the last sitting is May.
Oh, okay.
So you'll have time.
Yeah, and for and what are the timings usually? The sessions for OBU mentorship you take,
Yes.
for example, this year you're taking from next month, right? August. And
Yes, so
for
August,
the
it's
same
in 2
timing, is it the
weeks.
same timing next year too?
Around the same timing, and all our sessions are gonna either be in the evening or the weekend. So it would be like basically after office hours.
So the session happens multiple times a year, or just
2 times.
2 times? What are the
2 times.
timing? Like one is in August, another.
So August is for November, and for May we would have around in February.
February. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jan, Feb.
Okay.
Yeah. Hanan, I'll have to check regarding why it shows that you're not eligible. Have you gotten your grades for all 9 papers Or maybe you've done one in June and you're waiting for the marks. Hussein, from my knowledge, is that you won't be eligible to actually do it if you haven't completed the 9 papers, especially doing the 3 FR, AA and FM papers. I'm not sure if a friend of yours did that, but I'm not aware of any. Hanan, because maybe you joined a little bit late, you've completed all 9 papers and you've written the 9 papers, or were you exempt from any? Okay. Hisham, this is a very good question. So if you cannot make a session, is there an online alternative? So for the first session, we're not giving an online session because we need to have a physical presence there. However, for session 3 and session 4, we will be doing it kind of live online. So I will be having the face-to-face session, and we will also have a Zoom that is happening at the same time. I'll be having Nandini as well with me, who can be like checking the answers, because usually what happens is that when we're doing a face-to-face class, it gets really difficult to stay with the questions on Zoom and, you know, like how I'm doing with you guys. But then I'll have another tutor with me who's going to be helping me with that. So for session 3 and 4, we will be having, or we'll be providing the availability of it being online as well. Mohammed, I'll get back to you regarding the cost. Yes, we will be sharing the recording of the sessions. And if you have any questions regarding, you know, the cost, about booking, about anything like that, please contact the office right away. Specifically for this session, we also have limited spaces, because we do have some people who are resubmitting, or basically they have, you know, stopped midway and they've already registered for the November session. So we do have limited spaces because I'm only one mentor, and we have a limit of how many students that we can take for mentorship. So please make sure that you do book if you need to. Hanan, if you've written all papers, what I would recommend is just call the office, the admin team. They can really help you with that. So give them your ACCA number, show them what you actually see on the screen, and then they can deal with that. Because if you definitely know that you want to do the OBU and you are eligible, and if you finish the 9 papers, then just make sure that you get that done. So just contact the office for that. Yeah.
To be eligible, you also have to complete the module, right?
The ethics module, yes.
Okay, so I'm actually a full-time student.
Mm-hmm.
Just I completed the 9 exams, and now I'm doing the module, unit 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
And for the project, I have no idea what to do. Just I said, let me go for the project.
That's fine. So if you're doing the ethics model now, that's great. So everyone needs to do it by the 20th of September. Then you can, if you're ready to do it, if you finished your 9 papers and you finish your ethics model, then you can just do it. You have 3 months, and you have these 5 sessions with me where I can we'll do it bit by bit. It's not like I'm just gonna leave you to do it on your own. We'll just do it in parts to make it a little bit more simpler for you.
But I have to select a topic, and based on that,
Yes.
maybe I have to get the internal information from the company.
If you pick a topic that requires internal information, then definitely yes. So the first class is in 2 weeks. So it's on the 14th of August, where we're going to discuss these questions in more detail. Like, you don't actually have to pick a question right now. I would say You can, of course, pick a question right now, but like you can wait and look at all of these questions and see if you can get internal information, then pick whatever you feel more comfortable with. If you can't, then I would say stick to one of those 3 topics. Then that means that, you know, you don't have to get any internal information.
And from where would I get the external information?
Online.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Google is great. Yeah, so external information, we can get like, once you choose a company, you can get from the company's website, you can get from news reports, you can get from articles. There are a lot of different sources, but they're all available online, so not gonna be an issue. Imagine, guys, how people have done this like 20 years ago. That was difficult research. The research that we do now is nice and simple.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And also for the people who have joined late, just showing you my email and my phone number, just in case you get like a different question or a random question later on and you want to ask it later on, just, you know, jot down my phone number, message me on WhatsApp, and I'll just get back to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, even I was thinking the same, that, you know, how to get the internal information, even if we email the company, and why would the company give its internal information for a student who's doing his research project?
Okay,
That's what
so
concerning.
a lot of people who do the questions that relate to internal information is, for example, someone who's working there. If you are someone who's working there, it's very easy to get that information. Once the company, you get a consent form, super easy. I think someone else mentioned if he has a family member who's working in that company, again, going randomly to a company and getting that information is not going to be easy. Right? Not going to be easy. That's why there are always the options to stick with the questions that only focus on external public information.
Correct.
Any other questions? Okay. I think that's it for today's induction course. I do hope it was helpful for everyone. And I've just shared my email and my phone number with you as well. So feel free, if you get any later question or anything, please feel free to ask, and please just call the office if you have any queries regarding the course or the cost or anything like that. They will let you know. And, you know, I hope to see you guys all soon. Thank you.